Okay, we are recording. Um, I will start every episode with "We are recording" because these episodes are just what's on my mind, and every time I hit record, that's what's on my mind. It's recording. You got to say something. Um, as I've watched this back, my one piece of feedback to myself has been less like meandering in the beginning and the end, and I can't help it. This is a meandering thing. But I refuse. I think there are a series of videos. I'm trying like different videos right now. One of them is like this internet history game. One of them is this like Harinazumi Hedgehog Diaries, which this is one. Um, I think I want to maybe try to make the internet history one shorter and more accessible and like snappier. This one I don't want to. I think this one's like for me. I think this one I don't care if nobody watches them. I enjoy doing them, and there's something about the ramblingness of them and like picking through the memories that's interesting to me. So I have not planned anything, and I will not plan anything for these videos. So God bless anyone who watches. I do have one bit planned, and I will do that bit right now. Hey Siri, open my New Orleans folder.
Here you go.
Amazing. Great. I feel like that's a great bit. I had to create a New Orleans folder for that purpose, and I also had to disable Siri on my phone because when I was testing it, or when I had the idea, when I was doing some like audio tests. Oh, by the way, audio tests. Speaking of audio tests, I got this mic, the Blue Yeti mic. At first, I was like, oh, maybe the fact that the audio sucks is endearing, but I don't think that's actually the case. So if this sounds better, then that's good, because if it doesn't, then something's not plugged in or it's not working. So I am currently in Austin, Texas. I was looking to see if I had some like Austin signifier on the desk here. Oh, I have this. This is a map of Austin I picked up while in a thrift store in New Orleans. I think it's from like 1970 or something. So it won't have. I don't know. I feel like roads don't change, right? But I was in New Orleans for a bit, and now I'm in Austin for 3 weeks, and it's great. I'm in this beautiful apartment I found on Twitter, and yeah. But this is not about Austin. Actually, I'm gonna go through New Orleans Hedgehog Harinazumi footage, of which I took a decent amount. I actually thought I might be taking a bit more, but yeah. Let's just get into it. I've also considered like, oh, should I go through and like choose the videos I'm going to show beforehand? So this is all obviously. I decided no. Oh no. Okay. I need to just make sure that these are all turned down. That's annoying that I have to do that. But yeah, so this is like me on the way to the airport and airport footage. This is me with Vincent at a coffee shop before I called an Uber to the airport. I was sad to go. I would say I'm right now in like still like the beginning half for sure, maybe beginning third of this trip. And in a good way, it's at a point in my life where I didn't feel like I was dying to go away. In many ways, I felt sad to leave New York. In a way that feels nice. It feels like I have this like trip, and it's good. But I would have also been. Oh no. Okay. That was me. I'm not gonna play it back. That was me showing Vincent the tattoos of one of my film teachers who I really like. I really like her tattoos. I also like her. She's really cool. Um, there's no way she's watching this, so it's okay. I don't even think she follows me back on Instagram. But that's funny because when I showed him that and I saw he was filming it, I was like, oh, we can like never, we have to like delete that from the camera. That's so embarrassing. And now it's on YouTube. My God. Um, Me packing. But yeah, I would say I was sad to leave because like I have friends in New York and this is probably the best month of New York weather. Um, so there is part of it that's like, damn. But just a lot of things in my life in terms of like work and timing and this like thing I found on Twitter lined up where it felt like, oh, this is like a good thing to do. So this is all like pre New Orleans. I look like an idiot. I was just standing around the airport taking Harnazumi footage. Um, Someone came up to me who I guess was like a filmmaker or whatever and asked if it was like a black magic camera, which if you're not, uh, if you're like a normal person, that means nothing to you. But if you're like a film person or nerd, it's like a really nice camera. Um, so it's just like funny, like, no, this is not a black magic camera. This takes like 3 megapixels. Um, so I've been to New Orleans twice before. Once when I was young, and so not that young, eighth grade, seventh or eighth grade. So my high school did these community trips, uh, and it was like during spring break. So like we would have a 2 week spring break, and for the first week, you could go to like like all ages would go on these trips together. If you signed up, but a lot of people did it, so it was fun because you're like with your friends, and like when you're in eighth grade, what are you going to do on spring break anyways? You're not like, it's not like college, right? So it was great. Those trips I would say were actually very formative for me and for a lot of like middle schoolers because my school went from 7th to 12th grade. So you're like a 7th and 8th grader traveling on a trip with like 11th and 12th graders who like at the time are like gods, right? These are like the biggest people and like the coolest. Um, and 7th, 8th grade, that's like right at the verge of like, oh, like is liking girls like cool, like porn, what's that? I remember very distinctly being on a bus to Virginia on this community service trip in 7th grade and watching. It was all guys school too. Oh, that's very important probably for these stories. A lot of testosterone just like dripping off the walls. Um, but this in 7th grade, you're like, I don't know what's cool yet. But we were watching. They were playing Transformers on the bus, and first of all, great movie. I would love to rewatch that. But there was just like the classic, the famous, the infamous um, Megan Fox, like at the car hood of the car scene, and I just remember like 7th grade Josh being like, "Holy shit, is this?" I just remember turning to my friend and being like, "Oh my god, like what do we want?" Like I feel like it was like a sexual awakening moment for me. Um, but yeah, those trips were formative, like in that way, because I think, yeah, the 7th graders interacting with the 12th graders. Anyways, I think New Orleans was 8th grade, um, and obviously 8th grade, like we weren't like going out, but we were. They gave us more free reign than they probably should have. Like we were like on Bourbon Street, which is insane, or at least like above Bourbon Street. I remember. I won't name his name, but I remember a good friend uh, at the time, or I mean, we're still friends, but we are closer at the time, and we were just in our hotel, and he was standing, just like staring out the window for like an hour. He was like, he looked paralyzed, and everyone we are just like fucking around, and he's just staring out the window down, to which I think was like Bourbon Street, and we're like, "Yo," I'll call him like Matt. Yo, Matt, you okay? What are you doing over there? He just like won't answer. I'm like, yo, you okay? And he just turns around like 8th grade Matt. And he's just like, they're just like taking off their shirts, man. It's crazy. He was just watching people like flash. And yeah, shit was wild. So, and then I went again 2 years ago. So this is not Bourbon Street. This is Frenchman Street, which is better than Bourbon Street. Like Bourbon Street, you have to. Bourbon Street is great. Like you got to do Bourbon Street because it's the most iconic. Um, but Frenchman Street is like quieter. It has like an art market. It's definitely like where you want to be. Oh, this is a nice video. That's my friend Anissa. We went on this trip together. This was our first night. So we both got in maybe around like 5 or 6 p.m. I wonder if the mic can pick up. Like my computer's humming. Yeah, I'm really happy I leaned into like shooting on the macro here, which is why like she's in focus here and the background is not. There's just like at dusk. I mean, obviously it's like grainy, but I think it looks great. My roommate Vincent sent me this quote from someone a filmmaker who liked shooting on a similar style digital camera. And I forget the quote, and it would take too long to pull it up. But it was something about how these kind of low quality images sometimes feel more real. And it really resonated with me. Oh, so this is the view outside of our Airbnb, which is sick. Like that's the Mississippi River, which is wild. And this Airbnb was such a good deal. So it's at the airport. She got in earlier, but she waited for us. At first when she said she was still at the airport, because she got in like 2 hours before me, I was like, I thought she was being detained or something. So that was just like the first day. And I guess I already uploaded. So these dates here are just the day I upload. These don't have like actual metadata. So you can see the texture of the lights changing because now we're shooting in the day. Ah! Oh no, the sound. I don't even know if you guys can hear that, but like, so this Harnazumi doesn't have sound, but the videos don't come in mute. They come in like with that static. So yeah, this is just footage from our first day. You could see, it's hot. New Orleans was hot. I'm in my mind. I'm gonna like clip like 2 minutes of this and put it on Twitter as the preview. And I like visually what's happening. So my mind was like, okay, you gotta say something good because it's gonna clip. This is what you're gonna put on Twitter. But now I've ruined it. But yeah, New Orleans, I think it might be my favorite city in America. Like this, just like people playing on the street here. Like this is everywhere, and it's just such a specific, cool culture. Like Anissa and I were getting breakfast this one time, and just like this guy rides up on a bike and goes into the breakfast place to like get coffee, and I only noticed it because he was wearing a really distinctive outfit. But walks out with the coffee. I'm like, okay, oh, he just got coffee. But then he just proceeds to take a saxophone out of like the bag he was carrying and just play on the corner of the street right in front of us. I actually wonder if I have it. These are just now kind of more specific. These are kind of boring, I think, actually. Um, more footage of people playing music. It's surprising when I take footage on the street like this that, and you won't really see it here, but I was just shooting across the street. This is a non-anecdote. And people are like hesitant. People don't want to like ruin the shot. Whereas like all I want is for people to walk through. It just like adds a nice like depth and like motion to it. And the worst thing they could do to like ruin the shot would be to kind of like start and stop in, and it kind of breaks like the magic of it. I mean, it's all like out of good intention, so it's like, oh, like I get it, but it's a funny thing, and it's funny because like I don't think I would be that nice. I would just walk through. But you can see there's one person coming up who that was her who ducked. It's probably the worst thing she could have done. But it's nice. This was on the roof of our place. This is Bourbon Street at night. I should have taken more Bourbon Street footage like this with the neon. Looks so good. Bourbon Street. So I don't know if she would. Okay, well, it is what it is. So I don't know if Anissa's gonna love me saying this, but there's no way she's watching. This night on Bourbon Street, we were stalking someone. That's harsh. And no, Anissa just follows this YouTuber who I guess was in New Orleans at the same time we were in New Orleans, and was posting on her Instagram story like that she was on Bourbon Street. So we were kind of like playing this game of like, oh, can we like run into her? Not stalking. It wasn't stalking. It was just like a fun thing, like trying to figure out what bar she was and following her every move, and trying to track her down. It wasn't stalking though. It was all in good fun, and we didn't find her. So, obviously, if you're not successful, can't be held against you. This is kind of like one of the main places. Oh, where's the beignet? I got talk beignet. Sorry, this sucks. I'm just trying to find this one video now. This is why I should prep, but okay. So New Orleans is famous for these pastries, beignets, and this was from the most touristy place, like the one where it's like, oh, you got to go. Like everyone will say, like, if Thrillist writes about New Orleans, like I guarantee it'll have, I'll fucking check that right now. But these are the beignets, Cafe Du Monde, and it's so good. I guarantee, I'm gonna Google Thrillist New Orleans, like things to do. Top 3 will be Cafe Du Monde. Thrillist New Orleans. Okay, I don't know what list. I don't want to like rig it too much, but I also want to find like a list where it would be on it. Now I'm worried it's not going to be on it. Fuck, because I didn't know like Thrillist was so nuanced. I thought it would just be. Okay, I'll try this. Actually, cool things to do. Gator spotting. Oh no. Okay. Burgundy Picture House. I almost went here, didn't. Live music. Okay. Not top 3, but like that's pretty good. Nosh on beignet. Nosh. Thrillist really gets on my nerves for some reason. Yes, okay, it's swarmed with tourists, but for less than $5, it's an iconic New Orleans experience. you're probably gonna love biting into the beignet no matter where you're from. That's true. You are. It's really good. We also went to Cafe Beignet, which Anissa's sister said it was better. And it's not. It's not. Anissa's sister is wrong. It's not a value judgment. It's just a statement of fact. She's wrong. Okay. Yeah, it was so good. I meant to go back because I stayed a day or two more than Anissa did, but I just never did. I honestly I want to go back so soon. Part of me was like, why didn't I just spend the whole month there? Like, it's such a cool city. Um, I'm lagging. I can't even click on videos. Ah! Yeah, I guess New Orleans is also nice because it feels like New Orleans is like good, like in the sense that I feel like a lot of these cities that are maybe in the New Orleans category of like not the biggest cities in the country, but like cities where like annoying people from Brooklyn, if they were going away, would consider like Austin, Portland, New Orleans. Um, I feel like New Orleans is the one that's changing, is kind of stuck in time in some ways, whereas like Portland and Austin obviously are changing very quickly, um, and feel like they're gonna like. There's no one saying like keep New Orleans cool, right? I don't think that's, or at least I don't think so. Like it feels like New Orleans is just gonna be cool and it's gonna stay cool. Whereas like it feels like Austin and Portland and like these other cities are like Seattle, even to some extent, is like fighting against it. Um, because like and they're losing the battle. And I think things like the open liquor, open carry. No, that's that's guns. Open whatever you can like drink in the French Quarter area. You can just drink without like a brown bag or anything on the street. Like things like that make it feel like it's from a slightly different reality in a cool way. This guy's epic. So my favorite things were, sorry, I'm just. I think this is good. The culture around playing music in public, like, because that's what I'm. Because yes, there are street performers in different cities, but to say that these people are street performers, I guess is true. But there's like a casual nature to it, especially when you're not in the most busy parts. That it feels less like street performance and more like people just playing in public. In the sense that, like the guy who came into our came into that breakfast place and then just plopped on the corner and started playing. Like it felt like he was going to be playing no matter what that day. Like he was going to be playing saxophone in his home or outside. Like that's just what he was going to do. This guy just plays saxophone. Um, and it's just like, oh, why don't I just like play it outside so other people can see? Like that's cool. Like how many people are playing instruments, in New York, like by themselves in their room? Um, and okay, the silence is because I was considering making a joke and I'm not gonna make it. I'm sorry. I really like pushed against the limits of my filter in terms of like making a joke about people playing music, and I'm not gonna do it. But fuck, I've really gone off track, and I'm still not gonna edit this out. But yeah, the idea that people are playing music all the time, like why not, play it in public and have other people enjoy it? Like that's a cool idea. Um, I might not be interesting enough to do this kind of style of video, like this single. Oh, this was a cemetery we went to, which I was unsure of how much I should record because it felt disrespectful. Well, certainly Anissa didn't have any problem taking photos. It was so hot this day, but this was not in the area we were staying. Oh, we went to this thrift store, Funky Monkey, and I literally spent $100 on only t-shirts, of which this is not one actually. But and then nearby was this famous cemetery where they have like these are big. Like I don't know if you could fully get a sense. These aren't like tombs. These are like, or no, I guess they are tombs. They're not tombstones. Tombs? Is that what you call them? Tombs? I don't know. But you can kind of see like here. Like this is, I guess, where they keep the bodies or whatever. I mean, I'm sure. I think they burned them first. I actually don't know. All I know is from what we like overheard a tour that was passing by, and the person giving the tour was talking about how one, it's like a much more efficient use of space. I guess they were saying, which I guess makes sense. But two, was talking more about the value of having a space for family that I guess like, oh, you're gonna like when you die, you're gonna be like in this tomb with your family and like having one space to like trace your history. I don't think you can see it here, but like they have inscriptions. Oh yeah, you can. Of like your lineage. So it's kind of like a proto 23andMe, I guess. Yeah, it's interesting. It was also interesting. Probably the most interesting part of it to me was the idea of like actually going to the cemetery because you have someone you love who's buried there, and then having these tours and tourists all there. It must be weird. Of which I'm obviously one. That's like filming and being annoying, probably. Um, and this was nice. I have no idea how long I've been recording. This doesn't feel like my best work. This was a park that was pretty far removed. Oh, this was right after the cemetery. Uh, and our Uber driver, as we were pulling up, because I just wanted to go to the park. I didn't have any specific place in mind. Honestly, I thought it's just cool. It's just it's nice. It's just like really relaxing. But my train of thought, I'm losing it. I thought there would be more stuff. Like I thought there would be like stands that were selling beer. I just thought it was that kind of place, like a boardwalk almost. It was not. I mean, you could see there's like nothing. But these, oh, okay. But these guys, or they're not there right now. I don't know where they are. But there were these two guys that I swear were there the whole time. They were prepared. They had like picnic blanket and beers. So I went over with a $10 bill, and this was because I felt bad, honestly, because I was the one who suggested we go here, and we just arrived, not prepared, and we didn't have anything. We were just sitting on the grass, and it was fine. And our Uber driver though kind of called me out as he was dropping us off, and he's like, "Oh, I thought you had like a specific place to go." And we were like, "No, we're just checking it out." And he's like, "Oh no, this place sucks." He was like, "Oh, if you want to see the river, you should have gone like somewhere else." And I'm like, "Thanks, man. Like, sick." And I was like, oh, is it close? Could we go there? And he's like, it's like 30 minutes away, but they have like Ferraris that like drive and look at the view. I'm like, okay. He's like, here you're just gonna see fishing boats. Um, so I was like, fuck. Well, I was like disappointed, but two, I more felt like called out and embarrassed that I had chosen this place. So there were these two guys that were sitting there, and I went over with a $10 bill and asked if we could buy like two beers off of them. And they were so nice, like the nicest. I mean, everyone. I know it's cliche, but like people are just much nicer down south. And I guess when they're not being, not everyone is racist. Obviously, it's more racist down there in general. But these guys were very nice and I think not racist. And they were insisted that they not be paid for it, so they just gave me the two beers. They didn't have a bottle opener. They were doing it with their teeth. My dad's a dentist. He would kill me if I ever did that. So we used like the back of a cigarette lighter. And that turned out to be great. Like once we had the beers, like beer is whatever, but beer turns like sitting on grass looking at these like weird like fishing boats or whatever storage hauling boats go by. Like it really elevates the experience. Yeah, I'm just gonna choose one more thing and then wrap this baby up. Um, I don't know. I feel like I actually covered the main stuff. I don't know if there's anything. Okay, well, maybe this. This is an art market that I knew about and wanted to go back to. And this is just a still shot I was getting of the lights, but you can kind of see their little booths. This is where I got this bracelet. I picked up from here. Yeah, it's nice. It's just like that right there, right here is Frenchman Street, so it's like kind of off in like its own little world. Um, and it's one of the things I remember most distinctly from last trip. Um, the one other thing I haven't talked about is Preservation Hall, which is again, maybe I just don't know the cool local places. I mean, the one thing I know that's my favorite thing that you won't find on Thrillist is Flora Cafe, which is one of my favorite coffee shops in the world. Similar to the music thing, where they have a piano there and people can just like play. It's great, and it open till midnight. They had Lacroix, like all my favorite things. But yeah. Oh yeah. But sorry, Preservation Hall Jazz. This is. I might not even post this. I think this might be that. But Preservation Hall Jazz. I don't know what to say. It's good. It's like it's really like the thing with jazz is jazz usually puts me to sleep. Kind of. I feel like I don't know enough about music to like really love jazz. I have friends who love jazz and take me to cool jazz places, and I want to be someone. I love the idea of loving jazz. Like, there's nothing more in the world I would want than to be like, oh, you're visiting New York. Let me take you to this jazz place in like the Lower East Side. It's kind of underground, but you know, the guy who plays the jazz there, like, oof, like you wouldn't believe how good he is at playing jazz. Like, I would love to be able to say something like that. But I can't because I don't like jazz. Normally, yeah. And I've seen like, I think like good jazz, and I'm just like, I don't know. I think there's like a musical understanding I'm missing. But Preservation Hall in New Orleans is the one jazz experience that I've seen that I really like. Um, and it's just like high energy. It's like interactive. Like people are like putting in requests on like pieces of paper with tips, and like people are like clapping, and it's just great. And maybe that just means it's like watered down. It's for like, oh, it's like New Orleans jazz for people who don't like jazz. So it's almost like people who like jazz wouldn't like it. But I think it's great. I think like there's just such an energy in the room. It's like in this small living room area that's like these like wood benches, and it's very intimate, and there's no filming allowed, which sometimes feels like a stupid stance, but like totally fits. And I'm like totally pro in this situation. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up. Um, I'm probably gonna post this and like maybe not tweet it. I don't know if it was good. But yeah, this is the Hedgehog Diaries episode 3. At the very least, I think the aesthetic is cool. The new background and the filter, and hopefully the audio is good. So not a total loss. All right, I'll see you later. Bye.